Hi and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the demo day of Go to Space Hub's project, which is a European project for space tech startups and has gathered multiple startups over all of the European countries to different incubators and acceleration programs. And today we are here to see the best teams that are in Tallinn and have been part of the incubation program here in Estonia. What this actually means. We have a project funded by Horizon 2020 to secure and create scale-ups in the European business, offering technology help, mentoring, and all sorts of support for the space sector. Meaning that if we have deep tech startups, if we have space tech startups, then they actually get the valid help to go to the market and actually become successful companies. This means that with the Go to Space project, we have created 3 different hubs in Madrid, Tallinn, and Coimbra to both strengthen the relationship in the ecosystems and the networks and offer a good position for the startups to really bring their game to the next level. The project has been put together by 6 partners from Estonia, Poland, Spain, Portugal, and Belgium. And as I mentioned, in all those different countries, they have found the best startups to get new help. But teams and today's stars of the show are, of course, 10 different startups in Estonian ecosystem. We have Unsinkable Robotics, Vutani, Gratbergs, Falconers, 10 Lines, Lightcraft. The companies here are probably familiar to many of you already, but today we can see what they have been doing in the past year. That's right. In the past 12 months, they have been getting different help from the mentors, from Technopol, and from different partners to take their game to the next level, as I mentioned. And today they are here to present partly what they have been doing in the past year, but also where they are now and what they can offer to the world. So we can basically see how space tech is made, and all that it will be unveiled for you in front of the screen today. But let's get things to the next level. We also have a wonderful panel of judges here today who will both take care of the feedback as well of the other part, which is picking the best teams of today's pitches. This means that the jury will decide who is worth of the best prizes, because we are not just pitching here today, but we'll also give some pointers to the teams and maybe some feedback of what to do next, maybe some new markets to conquer, but we will see that in a bit. And the jury of today is Lisette Luik from Taavet and Sten Fund, Antti Kodar from Butterfly Ventures, and Ivo Remmelk from Superhero Capital. Hi, judges, and welcome.
Hi, everyone. Looking forward to hearing about everything you're building.
Oh, thanks.
Hello.
Okay, hello, judges. And I'm glad to see that you are all here. Seems that the tech is working, so we can get to the next step, which is the prizes that I mentioned just some time ago. We have a fund of 4,000 euros worth of mentoring and different services that the best teams will get. And the best of the best, so the first position, that team is able to go to the Go to Space Hub's international meetup of different investors and partners. They are able to meet not only the local investors, but the pan-European investors in October and get valuable insights, maybe a good business deal, or maybe even an investor on board. And it will be definitely a worthwhile to put your effort in the next 3 minutes and pitch really to be the first team. Right, but we have, as I mentioned, 10 teams here today. We are ready to see what they have developed in the past year and even before. And the first team to present their startup is 10 Lines, and we have Darmo, one of their co-founders, here today with us. Hi, Darmo, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
Wonderful. We are definitely ready for your pitch, and I'm excited to see what you have been doing with your robots. Just a public service announcement, you will also see a time that marks the 3 minutes. And if you hit the 3-minute mark, then I will also cut you and let you finish your last sentence.
Wonderful.
All right, but whenever you're ready, then please.
Hi, my name is Tarmo Prints, and I am the CEO and co-founder of 10 Lines. In 10 Lines, we're innovating the parking lot striping industry by developing autonomous parking lot striping robots. Each and every one of us is using parking lots in one or the other way, and the lines on the asphalt are a necessity to be able to park cars correctly and safely. If you would see somebody deliver packages with a horse, you would probably question if this is a good business. Well, I was having similar questions as an owner of a striping company for more than 10 years. The problem of parking lot striping is that it is entirely manual work. About 70% of the time is spent on measuring and pre-marking, and it's being done by the teams of 2 to 4 people. And only after all this labor-intensive work is done, the actual lines are being painted. Our solution to this problem is an autonomous robot that stripes parking lots 7 times faster using just one operator. It also reduces CO2 emissions by almost 2 tons per robot every year. And what's most important also is that it happily works night hours. My co-founder Janna and I, together with our team of engineers and partners, have decided to bring the innovation to the striping industry. With Janna's background in AI, machine learning, and robotics, together with mine in the industry of striping and business, we make a good team to bring striping industry to the future. We are providing our robots as a service to striping companies. Our clients and our main target market is the US. There is about 800 million parking spaces that need to be striped, and it costs about $6 billion to stripe them manually. We have LOIs from 5 companies in the US, but we're also getting calls and mails all the time asking about the robots. In the future, we will be expanding to deciding fields like airports and harbors and road marking, but we also believe that the lines on the asphalt are going to be smart. The smart link concept means that the lines are going to be communicating with both people and autonomous vehicles, and the sensors and patterns in the lines will be an important part of smart city solutions. Information about the condition of lines is going to be vital for autonomous navigation, but also for traffic safety and for knowing exactly when to stripe the lines again. During this program, we turned our proof of concept product robot into a full-size prototype. And from there, we are currently developing the full-size final product. We have paying pilots that we have been striping. And as you can see also on the photos, our robot stripe great lines.
And
we also recently raised 700,000 euros, and we are currently hiring. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a side question, have you actually measured the length of how many lines or how many lines have you actually striped already on the ground?
Well, I can't tell the exact length. When we develop and test the robots, we don't always use a paint, because otherwise the entire technical area at least will be covered with white paint. But we often use water for testing. But we definitely have striped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meters of lines around technical area. When somebody wants to come and see, we have several parking lots that have been completely autonomously striped. So
on a good day, you can spot the robots in action.
Absolutely, and we're going to have new robots coming in a few weeks. So it's going to be very interesting.
Very nice. And of course, we have now time for Q&A. I don't want to barge in to the side that the investors and the judges are asking. So Ivo, you raised your hand already.
Yes, thank you for the pitch. Do you have paying customers already?
We do have pilots where we strive for customers, but our business model is renting the robots out. We will be able to start with this next year as we have patenting and certification going on. We don't have robots physically in the hands of our clients in our target markets yet, but our pilot clients are paying for the lines that we paint with our current robots.
Thank you.
Lisette, you also raised your hand.
Sure. Thank you for that. I know you're still in the early days, but I'm curious about the unit economics. Do you have a sense of how much one of these robots will cost and how long it will take for it to pay off?
Well, technically what we do is we rent the robots out for the cost of an employee, for the cost of one worker's monthly salary for the company. And this means that approximately $3,000 a month is the rental fee. To produce one robot, we see that in the early days, it's going to be around 15,000 euros. We see together with our partners that it can be brought down to around 10,000. So the unit economics is pretty good.
All right, and Antti?
Yes, well, majority of the questions were a little bit asked, but I have a question about IP. You touched it a little bit. That what's with the tech, and do you have something patent pending, or what's the status you have there?
We are pretty close to filing the patents. We have a very good patenting partner based in Munich, Germany, and they have a lot of experience with robotics. There's several different directions that we can go, but we have mapped out the features and functionality that we can patent for a robot. I cannot go very deep.
Okay, and maybe a side question about the technology. The robot uses for location GPS or any other
That's one of the technologies, but as we paint permanent lines and asphalt, we can't rely just on GPS. We combine different sensors and technologies, and it's also important for different environments.
Thanks.
Thank you for the questions. Thank you, Tarmo, for the presentation. And we are ready to continue with the second team, which is called Lightcraft.AI. And Patrick, are you with us?
Yes, thank you.
We are ready for your presentation.
Yes, I can start if everything is right.
Seems to work nicely.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Patrick, CEO and co-founder of Lightcraft.AI. We develop hardware and software for space bioscience. Today, there's a great need to do science in space, as biology acts very differently in weightlessness. This has led to several new discoveries, but also enabled us to develop better therapies and drugs back on Earth. It's also important to do science in space, so we can understand how we can survive on longer space missions, and also maybe how to grow our food during these long missions. As going to space each time is problematic and expensive, researchers around the world use these 3D rotating devices called microgravity simulators. However, these small devices have three major problems. They are extremely difficult to configure for each single experiment, and it can take up to 1 year to optimize them properly. And they are also very expensive. Sending an experiment to space will cost more, and it's also a very complex and extensive process. We wanted to tackle all these problems. Our team combines expertise coming from biology, mathematics, and machine learning, and we also have experience on academic commercialization or bringing deep tech products to market. We are dedicated scientists who would like to push scientific understanding further. We developed a solution that we called Spaceflight in a Box. This is a ground-based laboratory device, and it has an adaptive control for its rotation, reducing the optimization time to 0. It's plug and play. It's highly modular, compatible with typical assays used in biotechnology, and also highly scalable. Why the scalability is important? As microgravity research is not only for space science. Large pharma companies such as Merck are already utilizing similar devices. They can purify cancer drugs, for example, with that, saving hundreds of millions of dollars. This is a 24 billion addressable market. To be competitive in this is complex and new market, we have a threefold IP strategy. We would like to protect our industrial design for the scalability, our algorithm and software for the control and optimization. And also we are working on a solution that we would be able to monetize data gathered from experiments done on our devices. Since our start, we have developed the industrial-grade prototype and established a partnership with academia and industry in 5 countries. We have 4 pre-orders for our devices and also sourced 70,000 euros of non-dilutive funding. Now we are raising 250,000 euros, so we are able to ramp up our production and expand our team. Also, we would like to secure quickly our IP. Our goal is to be an industry standard for this new emerging ground-based space bioscience, and also provide a platform for all the laboratories around the world. We would like to bridge biotechnology with the new space economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and you are right on time, which is very nice. Jury, we are ready for your questions. And Ivo, I see that you have already raised your hands. So please go ahead.
Thank you very much for the presentation. How long does it take to fill the pre-orders you have?
Oh, we have the prototypes ready. We are doing testing of these devices, and we are shipping out in the following weeks. So by the end of the year, we will have revenue from these 4 units at different universities.
And all your revenue is one-off from customers, or you charge something monthly afterwards?
So one of the customers, we will rent out a custom unit, and that's also like our business model is selling these devices. Also, we can rent these instruments, and in the future, we would like to have recurring revenue by selling our algorithm for specific use cases.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lisette?
Thanks for the presentation, Patrick. Question long term, do you believe you have to own your own manufacturing, or do you think you'll be able to license it out and use partner manufacturers to actually build the devices?
Yes, I think on long term, we think about going all like virtual and then licensing this as we have the patents sorted out for the production, because we would like to really scale up, and some large pharma companies that would use these devices as almost like manufacturing towers. Of course, there might be like large scale production going on.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Antti?
Yes, I raised my physical hand this time, sorry. What about the competition? Because I saw the market there, but it's like if the market is combined of a lot of big companies that have billions in R&D, how do you see your competition advantage?
The competitive advantage is coming through our partners, and what we have seen in the past few years and feedback from them, we will work closely with experts in the field of microgravity field and biology fields, that actual developers. And what we've seen from competitors such as Airbus has a similar device. They are great industry standard, but they lack some modularity and customization that were often requested by clients that we talk to, that we can offer.
Okay, so you're more focusing on, let's say, call them like SMEs, not rather the big companies on the market.
Currently, yes.
Okay, thank you, Patrick, for the presentation, and thank you for the questions. We will continue now with the third team, and Kasper from EYEVI Technologies. Are you here with us?
Yes, right here.
Wonderful. We are ready for your pitch.
Cool. Hi, everyone. It's Kasper Anton from EYEVI Technologies, the founder and CEO, and it's great to be here. Actually, today marks the day when we closed our seed round and are now starting to hit our next milestone. So great to give you a bit of overview. In EYEVI, we are focusing on the infrastructure digitalization. where we are providing on-demand mapping technology platform for the road consultants and road engineering companies. So our road infrastructure could be digitalized much more efficient way. It may come as a surprise, but already today, actually, the full road network is being mapped, surveyed over constantly every year, and soon even more frequent. And in fact, with the growing trend of the need for more details in the digitalization, we are even seeing the multiplier with 100 times more details will be digitalized on the infrastructure in the even 2 years time frame. So the real bottleneck is how to produce the digital data with a limited time frame and with cost efficiency. The road infrastructure vertical we have assessed, it's roughly almost 4 billion euros worth of the market share, with covering road asset management and planning and engineering and traffic analysis, all that needs the digital data. But with the second core infrastructure coming up and the digital environments of autonomous vehicles and all smart city digital twins, actually the full market value would reach up to 10 billion. EYEVI provides on-demand mapping platform. So we are developing the software platform to produce digital data using the different inputs from the autonomous sector or mobile mapping systems. And to make our platform more efficient, we have also released our own hardware set that we send as a hardware as a service component to our clients who are joining up with our solution. We are using the mileage-based pricing model. So basically, we only go to B2B companies and say that you only pay for the kilometer you use our data processing platform, and hardware is included. So our average client is actually almost 300K ARR for us in 1 year. At this point, we are reaching roughly 750,000 euro revenue stream by the end of this year. With some names listed here, mostly coming from 5 countries: UK, Poland, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Estonia. And in our next year target, we are taking the milestone, hitting 4 million revenue stream, where 1/3 will come from the US market. We already started our first activities in this year, and next year we're going to scale up. We have extensive team behind us. We have 25 people, and I think this team is the reason why EYEVI is able to hit through this difficult, I would say, landscape of geoinformatics, geospatial. But our combination of artificial intelligence, geoinformatics, and development with our great skills in marketing, sales, and management has led us where we are today and will lead us beyond that.
And your last
thank you very much.
Thank you, Kasper. Congratulations on the seed round. And also, it seems to me that you and 10 Lines could have a lot to talk about when it comes to making the infrastructure better, or at least a good opportunity to upsell.
Yeah, we have met before already.
Good to know that. Time for some questions. Ivo, you have raised your hands.
Thank you very much for the presentation. So it sounds like a service business. How do you plan to scale it?
There are usually quite limited number of the companies who are operating in the road infrastructure, surveying and mapping. So what we do is we provide them kind of a recurring model that they get the discounts per kilometer per feature if they take 1 to 5 years of commitment. And our first customers in UK actually already went to this model. So they are taking like 10,000 kilometers 1 year. The next year they are committing 15,000 and then 20,000. And because of that, we reduce the price per kilometer for them. Every other client are still mostly working like repeatable project based. So we are trying to, with our next milestone, to get more recurring the model in place. But it's ongoing.
Thank you.
Lisette?
Yes, following on from that, given that you've already sold a few projects, can you tell me a bit more about your sales cycle and what it's looking like? How long does it take you to convert a customer? How much do you have to spend in incentives or discounts to get them to convert? And how difficult is the process?
Yeah, we have right now 1 year and 2 months operations. So the history is not too long to actually give real kind of evaluations from that. But so far we have seen that we are able to convert one customer in 3 months' time, like repeating or payable customer in the first project. Because we can quite easily fastly send out our hardware to any of our customers and they can get hands-on with the hardware together with our software platform. So they see the benefits and how efficient it is, and then they actually start quite fastly wanting to use in their first projects. And then I think our track record with different countries with quite the huge names is helping on with that. But to get them into the, I would say, recurring phase, we evaluate it can be like 6 to 12 months still to get there. So they need to kind of use it in several projects first, and then they are ready to start going to this recurring model. And now, after 1 year of our operations, our first customers that were early stage started to go there. So it also proves that, yeah, it starts going more and more to that direction.
All right, thank you for the questions and definitely an in-depth answer. We are now ready to continue with team number 4. Thank you, Kasper. And the team number 4 is called Unsinkable Robotics, and their founder, Timmu, is with us here to present what they have been doing recently.
Hi.
Hi, Timmu.
So let me share my screen.
And we can see you, and just like everybody else, 3 minutes is yours.
Awesome. So over 50% of the fish we eat today is being farmed, and the fish catching will be steadily phased out. I'm Timmu from Unsinkable, and we are bringing space technology to aquafarming industries. Fish farms are currently quite inefficient. The salmon industry has around 20% mortality rate. There are fish escaping and nutrients leaking outside the farms. Unsinkable has started to solve these issues one by one. Firstly, we fix the fish escaping from the farms with a patent-pending robot tooling. Using high accuracy GNSS, we are able to map and track damages in the nets that will be then fixed by an underwater robot. This solution is 10 times cheaper and faster than currently used divers. The closest robotic competitors are significantly more expensive and still require diver assistance, further increasing their costs. Salmon farming is a booming industry with 7.4% yearly growth, standardized farming methods, and a need for innovation. Our beachhead market is Norway, that produces around half of the world's salmon. It's a lucrative business with high wages and dangerous working conditions that makes it an ideal market for automation. We establish customer relationships with fish farm maintenance companies and help them save money on the net fixing by selling them the patches and tooling for the robots. After the product validation is done, we upgrade our tooling and increase efficiency another 10 times using satellite data and clever engineering. From there, we'll start solving the next challenges, such as the sea lice problem that reduces the farm's productivity by 5% and is the main cause for the fish mortality. Our awesome team has strong technical background with capability to bring the space down to earth. Currently, we're expanding and onboarding ahead of sales from Norway. By the end of the year, we launch our net fixing solution. Next year, we establish our presence in the Norwegian market, get the stable cash flow, upgrade the net fixing solution, and begin a project of developing the sea lice prevention system that has a market potential of 4.3 billion euros. Currently, we are raising 150,000 euros that is met with already secured funding to keep growing. Join us on the Blue Revolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Timmu. And as I understand, you already have pretty good connections in Norway due to the accelerator that you attended a couple of months ago.
Yes, I was 6 weeks in Norway and networked quite a bit, and we have quite good interest from the Norwegian partners that we found there.
So not only are you good at fixing nets, but you are good at networking too. But we are ready for the questions from the judges as well. Ivo, again, you have raised your hand first.
Thank you, Timo, for your presentation. So have you already proved with your robot that you can fix the net, or it's still the idea phase?
Yes, we have fixed nets. We have a couple of small videos about it, and we have also filed for a patent for this solution. So yes.
Quick question about the business model. Are you more or less providing this as a service, or is the salmon farming company going to buy your robot?
We are selling in the beginning. We are selling the patches themselves to get the revenue going, and when we go into another challenges, for example, the sea lice prevention, then we sell it as a service. The companies already own some robots currently, but when we do, for example, the sea lice prevention, then it requires our own custom robot, and we can sell it as a service.
Thanks.
And Lisette?
What brought you to aquaculture? Does anyone in your team have a background in this space? Or do you have biotechnologists on staff? What brought you to this topic?
Yeah, actually, the Norwegian, we were into underwater robotics before, but when we went to Norway, we saw a strong a need in the aquaculture sector. So they said that the technology is basically 60 years old that they are using currently. Just divers having like really basic tooling to, for example, fixing nets with sewing. They are sewing the nets shut with like yarn. So it's really like old school, and they said that they need some innovation there. So we pivoted from doing only inspection to actually physically doing some other things. So the net fixing and sea lice prevention.
All right, thank you.
Actually, maybe one question more. If
it has to be really short.
Okay, it's a tech question.
Okay.
Is your robot always connected, or how can you manage autonomy underwater? It doesn't think as it should be unthinkable.
Yeah, it's currently always connected to the above ground, so we can always monitor the 4K footage it's giving out. So yeah.
Great, thank you for the questions, and thank you, Timo, for the presentation. We will continue now with another very interesting startup called Gretworks. And Matthias, are you with us?
Yes.
Seems that, yep, we can now see your screen, although.
Yeah, making it larger. So sorry about the background noise. I'm in a security expo, and this is the most quiet place I could find here. So my name is Matthias. I'm the founder of Gretworks. As some of you might know, the Chinese drone producer DJI has 80% of the drone market, of the global drone market. And they do actually make quite good drones, but due to the data breach concerns, the Western countries are phasing out DJI drones from the government sector. So this opens up quite a big market for companies like us. So if you add firefighters, police, border guards, local municipalities, you get to 100,000 clients in those Western countries. So we help them to solve two significant problems. One is that they can't buy cheap Chinese anymore. And the other is that we have made a durable drone that carries machine vision module on board and has GSM radio also on board. So this means that the drone can detect fires, humans, cars without any human input. And if GSM networks are available, we can instantly stream this data to where it actually matters, meaning the control room, not only the pilot. So even though the drone can be like thousands of kilometers away from the control room can manipulate the camera of the drone, can see the live video, or actually even take over the control of the drone. And we think that our product is scalable, so that here in these pictures you see our drone operating in the Lithuanian-Belarusian border, helping them to fight the refugee crisis there. So there are other sectors apart from the government sector that could use systems like that, like landscape mapping, security companies, and infrastructure monitoring. And in the beginning of October, our first drone goes to Georgia. Then we start also in October cooperation with the MUPO, the Tallinn local municipality. And if like half of the deals we have now in pipeline come through, we will become self-sustainable as a company. And if that didn't raise interest enough, of course, I have to give us the main pitch, which means that landscape fires cause 15 to 20% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. Our target is to reduce those emissions by 7–8%, meaning kicking off 1% from the global CO2 emissions. And believe me, there are not too many startups that can claim that as a target. So, questions?
Thank you, Matthias, for the presentation. Lisette, you have raised your hands.
Thank you for that. So quick question to make sure I understand. So are you selling a service or are you selling the drones? What's the business model?
Yes and yes. So we do our own drones, we do our own gimbals, we do our own radios. So there is lots of hardware there, and we sell the drones. The customers we have now are either for the components like radios, gimbals, or those early drones and precision landing, but we also have a SaaS service that we can do the machine vision on other drones as well, also on those DJI drones, so that both models are there available.
And Ivo?
Yes, thank you. So you have a really complicated product, the drones and the other hardware on it, and also listed so many different potential customer segments. I wonder what will be your focus to go to market?
Yeah, and at the moment the focus is very simple. So we go whoever pays us first, because we are running out of the runway, so we don't really have to think too much about it. Currently, the customers we have are not from the firefighter sector, but the private sector. So there are other drone robotics companies, and the pictures you saw in the Lithuanian-Belarusian border is a company developing this specific platform for border guards.
Just maybe as a quick comment, if you're like tackling a public sector as your main customer, you're always going to be tackled by public procurement. So that's a very, very long process. And if you want to get your foot between, let's say, military industry, that's way longer. So
yeah, sure. It's not a news. So there are two options we can do. One is that we rent the drones around, but that would obviously require then a lot of capital to produce them first. But there is some benefits, so the fires move around the globe, so not everything is burning at the same time. And then the SaaS model might help. And also, hopefully, we can bring something to the market that actually stays below the tender level so that they can buy it without official tenders.
Okay, maybe a quick question about the SaaS model, just to understand the tech side of it. If you gather the data from the drone, what's the output in a way that what it takes into account? Let's say the possible fire is moving that direction, do this, do that, or there still needs to be some guy looking and saying that, okay, we should do this.
So what we do now is that we use the thermal camera image to understand where the fire is, and we calculate the trigonometry. So we provide a vectorized fire map. And then additionally to that, then we can combine, add other data, which also actually is quite important if we speak about firefighters, because the systems they use are closed, large systems, and they can't import like landscape elevation modules or wind speed and forecast, for example. So they can use our data hub for that. And obviously we want to do fire forecast model, but we haven't really started with it yet.
But it seems that a good investment and added months to the runaway will definitely give you time for that. Thank you, Matthias, and thank you for the questions. We are ready now for WAL airships, and I'm glad to welcome Lina, who will present the company. Lina, are you with us and are you ready?
Yes, I am Lina Freiwald, CEO and co-founder of WAL airships. And we are doing network connectivity and Earth observation through stratospheric drones. So as opposed to satellites, we can do this much closer to the Earth. There is right now space internet costing a lot. There is a need for large constellations due to the satellites need to be many in order to provide constant connectivity and handover. But an airship in the air can stay above one location. It can move together with your ship on the ocean and provide constant connectivity. And we will avoid space debris. It's a good indication of environmental friendliness to avoid CO2 emissions or to reduce them. But space debris is a new problem, not very new, but a problem that no one knows how to tackle. Right now, 50% of the satellites sent up so far are inactive. There are requirements for new satellites to be able to be steered down so that they crash at least and burn into the atmosphere after usage. They have 5 to 10 years of usage time, and after that it inevitably happens. But still there are accidents where they don't have, where the accident happens earlier, they don't have steerability, and it's becoming a problem to get out of Earth in future. So we want to avoid that problem with our airships. So what's the difference in scale then? Satellites start from the lowest levels are 350 kilometers. They usually are somewhere above 400 kilometers from Earth. An airship in the stratosphere is 20 kilometers high. It is above usual air traffic, which is between 6 and 10 kilometers. So it will not disturb the air traffic. There is still some minimal atmosphere left to carry the huge airship and its useful payload. And obviously, this will enable much cheaper electronics for connectivity, for observability, much better pixel rate, and services available with one airship. We will start, we have a beachhead market. We have identified offshore operations companies that are sending ships out to the sea. As I said, already 100 kilometers from shore, they lose the current network connectivity, need to rely on satellites. But high up on Barents Sea, for example, the satellites are not so often anymore traversing through, and they lose pictures and connectivity. As well as the latency is too high. In order to have an autonomous ship with autonomous operations that could be 5 times smaller than a manned ship, they need low latency connectivity so that it can be steered from an operations center on the ground, just as Kraftwerks is enabling.
Lina, I'm sorry, but your time is up, so closing remarks, please.
All right, so I would like to show our roadmap. So this is our picture done in one of our stratospheric experiments, and I would leave this roadmap as background to the discussion.
Thank you, Lina. And just a remark that if any of the viewers here today would like to ask more questions from any of the teams, then please reach out to Hilary, who sent out the invitations and is the organizer of this demo day today, but today we have to move on with the Q&A. Ivo, please go ahead.
Thank you for the pitch. I wonder how sustainable is this? Are you using rare helium or explosive hydrogen?
We are using explosive hydrogen due to there are no people on board. It's relatively safe.
And it's easy to get them down by igniting this thing. Yeah.
We do hope to steer them safely down and leave the hydrogen safely.
Thank you.
Lisette?
Who do you see as your customer? Is it a telecoms companies? Is it the end user? Is it the big, like you said, the ship owners? Who's your target customer?
Our first customers are ship builders, owners, yes. And why they have the ships is due to offshore operations. There are different types of ships. Some of them need us more than the others. Then our second market, telecoms operators are already contacting us. We have talked to Elisa and Latvian LMT, and we're going to a telecoms conference in UK. We were sourced as a startup in their startup fair booth. And there are more. There are insurance companies who will want to see a smart city, real-time picture, etc. So anyone who can use satellites or drones today can also use our services in some manner. Jet stream winds are below us. We're going to go through them while raising and landing. We will have to withstand that part, but during operations, we are above jet stream.
All right, thank you, Lina. And maybe just a really short question. If I'm a person on the ground, then can I see your airships when they are on air?
Most likely not.
All right, then they will be small but mighty. Thanks a lot. And we will now continue with the next team called Mindship. And we have Christian here presenting their latest discoveries and developments.
Hello, can you see my screen?
We can see your screen and we're ready for your pitch.
Thank you. So hello, I'm Christian Dabri, and I will be presenting a company, Mindship. But my time hasn't started somehow. Is this okay? Okay, now it's started. Yes. So what's the problem we are aiming to solve? At the sea, at the harbors, or during everyday navigation of the ships, there are a vast amount of routine operations what has to be undertaken. For example, seawater condition monitoring, fish stock monitoring, harbor bathymetry to assure the safe water depth in the harbors, or also basically the everyday sailing with the ship. But of course, human is not very optimal for that kind of routine operations. And thus, it's foreseen that in 5 to 10 years, autonomous navigation is expected to become a standard in shipbuilding and also in marine operations. So what we are aiming to provide is to replace a human with machine-driven situational awareness and functionality solution, what we like to call artificial captain. So this is essentially a hardware and software solution that provides the ship with operational commands, navigational commands, and also provides information about its surroundings. While the user can control the vessel and get information about the vessel through cloud services, the system is also capable of autonomous navigation in the case when the communications are lost. We are planning to use the system on our own robot platform Numo, and also on the conventional currently manned vessels. So what we have achieved or done so far, we have operational prototype since 1 year already. We won a bid and currently are building a new, much larger vessel for the Tartu University for the fish stock monitoring. It will start sailing next summer. We are running a project with Baltic Workboats to bring our solution to one of their patrol vessels. And we are also working together with Port of Tallinn to develop actually a hydrogen-driven monitoring vessel for the ports they operate. Our team has formed over 3 or 4 years. What we have been developing the system, and we covered expertise from naval architecture to embedded systems and machine learning. So we more or less covered the whole range of expertise, what we require. Currently, we are working to get some more software competence. We have also drafted the roadmap for the investments, for developments, what we have to do, and also for the team growth. And that's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian. Looking at the presentations and yours especially, it seems that soon people don't need to do anything. They can just chill and, I don't know, start building their summer houses or...
Let's see. This is a bright future, yes.
This is a bright future. Ivo, you have raised your hand and we'd like to know what you'd like to ask from the team.
Thank you, Christian, for the presentation. What will be your revenues next year, and who is the first customer?
First paying customer is at the moment Tartu University, because they really purchased a vessel from us. So we have already received the first revenue. I would say next year we hope to have a revenue about 200,000. It also depends whether this deal with Port of Tallinn goes through, but they have very strong interest to purchase first electric vessel and then to also develop the hydrogen vessel, because they are pushing quite strongly this hydrogen solution.
Thank you.
Lina, sorry, Lisette.
Thank you for that. Can your solution also be retrofitted on existing ships?
Yes and no. The project what we run with Baltic Workboats is a brand new vessel, but let's say with existing technology level. And what we have seen, it's actually very hard to control even very high, a vessel with very high technical level. It's quite hard to make a brand new vessel autonomous at the moment. So it can be retrofitted, but it quite strongly depends what kind of systems there are on board the vessel actually.
Thank you.
A quick question. Yeah, you outlined a lot of let's say business fields. So it's do you regard yourself more as a IoT company that provides this autonomous service, or is it more like still a autonomous vessel company?
Let's say the honest answer, we don't know it yet. But what we see as our strength is that with our own vessel, we can really gather a lot of information, what we can then implement to this artificial captain, so that the system what we could provide to actually manned vessel or currently manned vessels can be quite good, because we have a lot of learning information. So yeah, honest answer is we don't know yet. Is it our own platform, or is it actually more the conventional ships?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you for the questions, and thank you, Christian, for the presentation too. We will now continue with a team called, or a company called Auctex, and Martin, you are presenting us the pitch today. Martin?
Yeah, hello. I will try to share my screen as well. Here.
Yes, we can see your screen now too.
You can see the PDF.
We can see the PDF
yeah.
Nicely. Yep.
Yeah. So the main problem is that we are working on solving is access to energy. In developing regions, there are 130 million households without energy, without access to energy based on World Bank data. in crisis regions, it is difficult to create an infrastructure. And in developed countries, people are tied to the grid, so to say. We are always looking to charge our phones or our iPods from the wall, and this is even worse for medical devices. It severely limits people's freedom of mobility, and this is getting worse and worse every year since new devices come out. And this problem is existing in space as well, since it is very difficult to create infrastructure in space. So we are working on an energy generating, storing, transferring fabric. We feel that in comparison with solar panels, our biggest strength is utility, while solar panels are best in efficiency. A fabric can be used in a lot more applications and products than solar panels can, such as outfits, such as apparel, such as inflatable shelters, such as skin for robotics, such as spacesuits, for example. And what we are aiming for as our first pilot product is 70 watts per square meter in energy generation and 7,800 milliamps per hour per square meter. And as a fabric, we can also create 3D structures with the fabric to increase the efficiency. While we are testing, creating end user products to ensure safety and functionality in those end user products, our main focus is on the sales of the fabric. Because there are so many different applications for it, we feel that focusing on one thing and finding partners for these end user applications as a start will bring us, I would say, better, greater chances of success.
Martin, sorry, your time is up, so please can you share your last remarks?
Yeah, and today we have a really strong engineering and research team, and we feel that Go to Space Hub could help us out on the business side of things in 2022, when we finish our, pilot product of the fully functioning fabric. Today we have samples of 2 components. We got approved for development for the last component, and full samples will come out in 2022. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks a lot. And definitely impressed by the idea of wearing clothes and being able to use that for a different kind of energy production as well. Ivo or Antti, whoever wants to go first.
Ivo raised first.
Yes, thank you for the pitch. What products do you produce yourself, or you use only partners for anything you have?
Yeah, thank you for the question. As in the beginning, we will be mainly focused on the fabric itself, scaling that up, using partners for end user products. What we will do also is create some prototypes of end user products to ensure to our customers that this is safe for human health, this functions the way it is intended.
Thank you. I maybe have 2 questions, and it's a follow-up question what actually Ivo asked. That are you then regarded as a medical device actually?
Yeah, we have contacted medical companies as well. We do have, this has applications in the medical industry as well.
Okay.
And we have spoken with our team members in universities for medical approval.
Okay, and the second one is actually about the specifics of the fabrics. Let's say all fabrics, apparel, for example, is for a certain reason, let's say, have to be very light. So does your technology is make it more heavier, or it's still
compared to normal fabrics? Compared to normal fabrics, we aim to be, you know, as indistinguishable as possible.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Seems that we have no more questions at the moment. I see that there's one in the chat, but I will let you answer that through the chat directly. And we are now continuing with the final presentation of the day, which is from Team SpaceWave, and Rauno is presenting what they have been doing recently.
Hello, my name is Rauno. Can you hear me?
Very nicely.
I'm from SpaceWave. I will share my screen. SpaceWave is doing high-speed internet with small satellites. Connectivity. The satellites themselves need connectivity. For example, if somebody is making a very small satellite and wants to do Earth observation or some sort of data traffic, some sort of data service, then very high-speed internet is able to, or connectivity can be provided. And what we're making is the radio communication system inside the satellite. So in the picture here, you can see a 10-centimeter CubeSat. And today there is a CubeSat standard where most of the nanosatellites and CubeSats and also microsatellites are using electronics that are in CubeSat standard. So our team started up from the university satellite project. And this picture is from the Caltech satellite. We have two of them in the orbit. And we looked at the communication device that you see also on the screen here. And then we saw that we can do much better. Actually, we can do a next iteration. And we have been working on the last couple of years on these high-speed communication systems, the transmitters and the receivers. And the most distinguished is the X-band, and which is about 10 gigahertz. And also we're working on S-band, which is 2 gigahertz. And S-band has become a standard. It's used by many commercial satellites. But now X-band is more desirable because it provides faster data. So our products are this kind of communication systems that this kind of a box that goes inside a small satellite. The satellite can be very small, starting from 1 unit CubeSats. So these are the 10-centimeter size cubes that many universities are making for education, but also companies are using the same standard now to provide new communication services. And the S-band uplink, the receiver in the system is up to 1 megabits per second. Downlink also on S-band is 1 megabits per second, but the X-band downlink can be up to 100 megabits per second. And the power efficiency also on this X-band on 10 gigahertz is state of the art. The next product that we're making, when this is successful, then we are adding a plug-in camera system. And this will add to the very smallest of CubeSats, 20 megapixel resolution. We're starting with wide angle, but the optics can be developed further for Earth observation for this more narrow angle applications. And with our communication system, we can have live video streaming from very small satellites. So the very small satellite market is growing very fast. And this year, there are about like 400 to 500 small satellites where our product is targeted to. Quite many of the satellites are educational satellites, university CubeSats, but the majority are actually fleets, are large fleets. Either one company launches 100 satellites, another company launches 300 satellites per year. And there are new companies that are making the fleets.
I don't know, your time is up.
Thank you.
All right. There was definitely some things that were unsaid at the moment, but I'm sure that the jury members will have questions about them. So we are ready for the questions now. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Who do you see as your primary competitors in this space?
In the CubeSat space, there are larger companies that have done many products for CubeSats, and they also selling their communication products. But because it's a standard, then other companies can come in and provide products because of the standard. So in one of the slides, I listed like 7 competitors, but most of them are either much slower speed, or they are larger, they're bulkier. They need a bigger satellite to stay in. And
having a smaller satellite gives you what advantage? Is it cost advantage? Is it ease of getting it up into the into orbit?
Yes, it's with our system, it's possible to provide the same these data services or Earth observation or high-speed data services with much smaller satellites. That's the goal, and this will have smaller environmental footprint because you have a smaller satellite, and the cost of launching the smaller satellite is much less as well. Every kilo costs a lot to send to space.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ivo.
Yeah, I wonder what is your achievable market size in euros?
So we have thought that there are 2 kinds of customers. Either the beginners that are doing their first satellite, either university educational or companies that try out their first technology at the first time, and there are those that are building the large fleets. So it's quite possible to get into a large fleet, and there are quite many. Like every year we see like 3 or 4 that are sending like 50 or 100 satellites to space.
And the market size in euros is?
For this kind of a system, it's about some tens of millions per year. Less than 100 million, I suppose, for a subsystem of a satellite.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mike, do you have a question?
Maybe just about the tech and IP. Do you have something there, so to say, very unique rather than being just small?
It's a unique design, but the IP field, when we've looked around in the IP field, there don't seem to be dangers. Like these particular technologies are not fully protected. And so it's possible to apply for IP. So it's possible to apply, but we haven't considered this so extensively because it's at first it's easier to have like a business secret.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rauno, for the presentation. And once again, thank you for everyone who presented their startups and their companies today. I think that a round of applause is definitely in order for you. I wish that we would be now in the meeting form because then we could do all that at once with the virtual emojis. But we have now the grand moment of selecting the winners. But before we do that, let's raise the the excitement a little bit more. And I want to ask from the jury members, what did you think of today's presentations? Did you already have a company in your mind that would look like the winner? And third, my own personal question, if we have so many drones and so many robots on the streets, what will you do in the I don't know, in the next 10 years? Are you already buying private islands, country homes just to go and relax?
I can start us off, I guess. Thank you to everyone who presented. Really well done. Always takes a lot of courage to do this, so well done. I think definitely some interesting themes here. Automation is huge, and I think we'd all agree that we see it coming down the line. I think for me, I'm a little bit of a tech realist, so I think it's definitely coming, but I also think there'll still be a long period during which all these drones and robots will need my help taking them out of hedges and, you know, holes that they've fallen into. So hopefully I can make myself useful with that for a little while longer.
So investors are definitely part of the equation of making easier, you know, the future life, and also making sure that things work out not only for the drone companies, for the robot companies, but they could actually become a realistic dream that we have now today. Antti, what about you? Did you already see any of the teams that you would like to invest to?
Well, it's potentials there are, but it's always, how to say, it's all these 3-minute pitches for deep technology. It's tricky. It's more or less to get the first traction, and then go into more detail to understand what's the technology behind it and do a proper assessment. But it's congrats to everyone that it basically grasped the essence of what you do. So it's a good start, and it's always to show like the key factors to potential investors and get the traction going. So.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it's like it would require an hour on its own to see
Yes.
how we can actually support deep tech companies and space tech companies in a way that give them the enough runway to develop their products to the phase that they can actually launch it properly, and that they have enough time, but also sort of to meet the market expectations as well. So it requires its own sort of ways how to support that system.
And actually the market is the tricky part, because deep technology is something that we don't actually have a proper market yet, in a way, because everything is still developing. So it's difficult to find the proper comparisons. Yes, there are something already being done, but if it's a new technology, well, you're just trying to find some type of comparables to understand is this and how much this is doable.
Mm-hmm, exactly, and you basically have to spot the people who are founding phones of sorts of the our age phones that hundreds of years ago were developed in one and the other end of the globe.
That's true.
Right. Thank you, dear members, for your hard work today, and also for the teams who were especially making sure that they fit to the 3-minute mark, and actually developing and good products for the future use, and understanding how to present it in a way that us sort of commoners understand it too. Just a bit more about the prizes that we have today that should make it easier to launch your product in the future. We have, as I mentioned at the beginning of this demo day, €4,000 sort of prize pool for different kinds of mentoring help, for different kinds of services. And the first place of today gets to participate in the International Go to Space Hub final event with loads of more investors to present their idea. And as I see that today, many of you mentioned that you are looking for seed round or pre-seed round funding, then this will be definitely valuable for you. And looking at here to my smartphone, where I have already received with an old school SMS the winners of today, then I can say that the third place of today's pitch competition goes to EYEVI Technologies. Congratulations.
Woohoo!
Kaspar, can we get you on the screen as well?
Cheers.
And you are getting €1,000 worth of mentoring and services. So quick question, what will you do with the money?
We'll use it well to plan our next milestones ahead. So we have, I think there are a lot of mentoring is well needed with our management team to grow before the startup grows. So definitely.
And it seems that today has been a good day for you. Closing the seed round, closing the third place, it will definitely be a good sort of starting point for you. So congratulations again.
Thanks. Cheers.
Thank you. We will now continue with the second place, which will also receive 1,000 euros worth of mentoring and services. And the winner is... Ta-da! 10 lines. Congratulations.
Hello.
Tarmo.
Thank you so much. We definitely appreciate it, and the acknowledgement is definitely well deserved. I mean, appreciated. We're definitely very excited. Thank you.
And the same question for you. What will you do with the money?
Well, we have definitely gotten a lot of help during the program, and we have used quite a bit of legal mentoring and other kinds of mentoring as well. But during the investment round closing, the legal mentoring was very much helpful, and we probably are going to use the same thing.
Seems very reasonable, and I guess it also sort of was mentioned from many of the companies in the presentations today that either they were working on the patents or any kinds of legal help. So seems that legal part is definitely something that any of the legal company could help deep tech and space tech startups. But congratulations again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and all the drones and robots out there, are you ready for the first place? I already see it here on my screen. And just to mention again, 2,000 euros worth of mentoring and services, and the tickets to the final event of Go to Space Hub's program goes to... Lightcraft.AI. So a big applause to you guys.
Oh, cheers.
Patrick.
It has been so busy week, and like, yeah. Thank you very much. Raise your place.
Very, very nice. Oh, we have also the
nice song.
Music. So once again, thank you, and it was definitely today's best pitch. But to everybody who was watching us today on the screen as just a viewer or a participant, if you would like to see any of the pitch decks of the companies or actually meet them and have one-on-ones, then please reach out to Tehnopol's space tech lady, Hilari Holm, who will, and you can see her email on the screen as well. She will be in touch with you to introduce you to the teams and share their contacts, etc., etc. And of course, for everybody who got a spirit of inventing something on their own, then you already saw some nice positions in the companies if you want to join them, or you can start something on your own and of course contact Tehnopol to see how they could help you in this. But today, I wish you a good afternoon. Be productive, be innovative, and let's wait for the better futures full of drones and robots. Have a good afternoon. Bye.